everyone, it's Jennifer, and today I am here with a book review for the book Julie and Julia by Julia Powell. Now, if you haven't heard of this, it was adapted into a film in the early to mid 2000s. I'm not quite sure when it came out. I probably should have looked that up before I started filming this video. But anyway, it was a really good film. And I actually read the book after the movie, so that was different for me. I didn't really realize that it was a book before the film came out. So anyway, this particular book was written by Julia Powell, and she herself set out to start a blog where she made every single recipe in Julia Child's cookbook, Mastering the Art of French Cooking, which I think it says 524 recipes, and she wanted to do them all in a year, which is only 365 days. So whenever she set out to do that in real life, she had a blog, and she would blog all of her experiences. And I think after the blog, she was offered a book deal, and that's actually talked about in the book. And so that's where this spins off from. There are excerpts from her blog and then just insight into her everyday life while going through this experience. Now, Julia Powell at the time lived in New York City. I think she still lives in New York City. And she had a government job working for an agency that worked for, I don't quite know. She can't say too much about it because it is a government job, but it has something to do with 9/11 victims and helping 9/11 victims. So her job is extremely stressful and a lot of times just ugly. So I think this whole Julia project was a way to escape that and to come home and be able to do something that she enjoyed. And she always was interested in Julia Child and her recipes, so that is that. The part that I like the most about this book is how extremely down-to-earth and real life it is. This is a little bit different from the film. I think the film was definitely made to reach a wider audience. It's watered down a little bit. Julia's personality really shines in the book. I think the book has a lot of cursing in it, which I think is very realistic for everyday life. It's not like over the top, it's just like a normal amount of cursing. Also, she talks about her just struggles with paying bills and certain things that her and her husband have to do in order to make the bills every month, in order to support her hobby, in order to keep the apartment clean, in order to maintain friendships, in order to maintain their relationship with each other. And I really related to this book a lot. There are little arguments that are part of marriage that are brought up in this. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure my husband and I have had that exact same experience. They have like a toilet from hell. Their bathroom has a lot of issues and that is like recurring in the book, is like this bathroom issue. And my husband and I live in an older house, and I just related to this book a lot. Whenever I was reading it, we actually were going through some renovations at the time, so I really related to this book a lot while I was reading it. This is one of those books I read on my YouTube hiatus. During that time, my house was being repaired after some serious storm damage, and we had contractors in and out of our house for like 3 months doing insurance work and repairing our house, and it was extremely stressful, and this book helped me get through that time. I know whenever something stressful would happen, I would just think back about Julia and realize, hey, other people go through these things and it will be okay. It'll be perfectly fine. Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I think I'm probably going to reread it at some point. I would like to get the movie. I don't own it right now. But this has definitely inspired me to pick up books about Julia Child herself, because there are some excerpts in this book from Julia Child's like journals that are out there. So it kind of goes back and forth between Julie. I think this entire video I have switched their names. Julie Powell wrote the book. Julia Child is the chef. Sorry about that. So anyway, Julie, the book goes back and forth between her life and then Julia Child's life, so you get a little bit of both worlds. I think it's surprising to find out how things ended. Even though you kind of see in the movie what happens, it's just a little more heartbreaking in the book, just because there's more detail, and these are the exact words that the author used to describe her own experience. So yeah, it's not necessarily nonfiction. She says that she kind of exaggerates. I think in the notes she says that she actually kind of exaggerated some stories and added to it to make it a little bit more fun. So it is actually fiction. But yeah, I figured I would read you a little bit of the blurb just in case I didn't describe it very well. It says, on her visit to her childhood home in Texas, Julie Powell pulls her mother's battered copy of Julia Child's Mastering the Art of French Cooking off the bookshelf. And the book calls out to her. Pushing 30, living in a rundown apartment in Queens, and working at a dead-end secretarial job, Julie Powell is stuck. Is she in danger of becoming just another version of the housewife in a rut? Her only hope lies in a dramatic self-rescue mission, and so she invents a deranged assignment. In the space of 1 year, she will cook every recipe in the Julia Child classic, all 524 of them. No skips, no substitutions. She will track down every obscure ingredient, learn every arcane cooking technique, and cook her way through 60 pounds of butter. And if she doesn't help her make sense of her life, at least she'll eat really, really well. How hard could it be? So yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and like I said, I'm hoping to pick up the movie at some point in the future, because I think it is a good adaptation. They just kind of filter Julie's personality a little bit, so it can reach a wider audience. But yeah, I would recommend this if you're looking for a quick and easy read, a good contemporary book. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time with another video. Bye!